What is going on, guys? Johnny on the track back with another video. And we've got Talladega this weekend. I'm actually pretty excited for Talladega. I think there's a lot of storylines here. We had a good week. We had a great week, really. Logano, I think, finished sixth, so that was tough. Had him a little bit higher, but the final card had Denny Hamlin on it, and Denny Hamlin delivered. So Danny Hamlin was my championship pick. My championship four look pretty damn good at this point with Larson and Briscoe and obviously Denny. And then I think I had Byron, I believe. Byron or Bell. I'd have to go back. But anyway, they're all still alive and my championship pick is through. So yeah, I'm excited to see. I'm rooting for Hamlin, obviously. Have I always been the biggest Denny Hamlin fan? No. But I was able to meet him at New Hampshire. He signed a couple cards here that was nice of him. He's a really, really nice guy, honestly. And so look at this downtown card he signed. How cool. Can you guys see it? Damn, that stupid background. Anyway, yeah, so I'm rooting for Denny. Big to see him into the championship four, but we've got Talladega now, and luckily for Denny, he doesn't have to worry about that. But the rest of the drivers do. They have to worry about a track that is, for it to be in the round of eight is wild, in my opinion. But nonetheless, I think it's going to provide for a great race. Everybody's fighting for either just a win at this point, if you're a non-playoff team, to get a win on the board, or another win to have a multiple win season. If you're a guy like Austin Dillon or somebody like that. And then, of course, we've got these final eight. Guys like Blaney, guys like Logano, Briscoe, Bell, Byron, who had a terrible day, Chase Elliott fighting, clawing, Larson in that mix as well, who's gotten better and better and better at super speedways. This is an interesting one. I think we can go a lot of different ways here. But before we do that, let's just thank our sponsor, Slice Seltzer, SLYCE, Slice Seltzer. Oh my gosh, Slice Seltzer. There we go. They've been a partner pretty much all year long for this show, and we appreciate the partnership. It's just clean, it's crisp, it's enjoyable. It's been a drink that I've relied on now for the past, I don't know, 6 months. And I've enjoyed it. So you should too. Visit sliceseltzer.com to learn more. So thank you, Slice, for presenting and sponsoring the program this year. We only have a few more of the betting shows, but I think Slice is going to be with us for a while. So without further ado, let's get into the betting. I think you kind of have to be high on some of these Penske guys, like Ryan Blaney and like Joey Logano. Austin Cindric, I don't think he's going to win because I think if he's there in the end, it's his kind of priority. It's his job to push a Logano or push a Blaney to get that win. So I think Cindric is an interesting guy to place like a top five, top three bet around. But if you're looking for winners, Blaney is the guy to go with, in my opinion, or Logano, although Logano has not really had, great results recently. It's just finishing these super speedways. But obviously, Blaney, we saw him win at a super speedway earlier this year. It was a spectacular win. So Ryan Blaney, to me, is my favorite bet of the week. It just feels like he has to run well. So he's going to have to be up there leading a lot of laps, getting stage points, hopefully winning stages. Him and Logano, I think, are going to do all they possibly can to stay up front for the majority of this race. Now you can say, well, shouldn't all of them like to be doing that with Bell and Briscoe? Yes, but the guys I trust to do that are the Penske fours, like Cindric, like Logano, and like Ryan Blaney, who again is my top pick this weekend. So overall, I want to get the number for Blaney on DraftKings. He's 10-1. Logano is 10-1. Cindric is 10-1. We're gonna fade that bet. We are not betting Cindric for a money line. Denny Hamlin is 18-1. We're not going to bet that. We're going to fade that one as well. I think, again, he's going to either have a priority to push one of his 2311 guys for a win, or push a Joe Gibbs guy, push either Bell or Briscoe to get a win. But to me, like I'm gonna fade Ty Gibbs. I'm gonna fade Denny Hamlin for money line. I'm gonna fade Austin Cindric for a money line. Ricky Stenhouse is an interesting one at 20 to 1. He seems like one of those guys that just comes around and spoils the show. When you're expecting like a Blaney to win or a Logano to win, somehow Stenhouse pulls a rabbit out of his hat. So I don't love the number. I wish we could have got that closer to 30 to 1. But overall, I think Stenhouse is a guy to watch for, maybe for top Chevy, obviously, and as well as a money line bet. So Stenhouse 20 to 1, I think, is a fair play on the card. Um, I'm just looking at some of these numbers as they continue to shift. You have a guy like Eric Jones at 45 to 1, again, has been close in a lot of super speedway races, but hasn't been able to get the job done. Austin Hill at what is that, 100 to he's plus 10,000. I wouldn't bet him to win, but for a top 10 in one of these races, especially if things get a little crazy at the end, he's plus 350 for a top 10. I like that bet a lot. You can't go wrong again with even just sprinkling some money on Casey Mears and BJ McLeod at plus 900 each. Um, you know, it's Talladega in the round of 8. So, if Bell and Blaney and Byron and Larson and Hocevar and, Gregson are up there trying to win, like there's a lot on the line for some of these guys to go out and win a championship. Especially like a guy like Larson, who has gotten better and better at super speedways, and you feel like, will he want to make that crazy move at the end to win this thing? Larson, to me, is an interesting guy to watch this weekend. The thing about Larson that I'm not loving is the fact that he's 12 to 1. To me, like, I would attack him at 18, 20, maybe even like 16, 17. But like 12 to 1, he's never done it. So to me, I'm not gonna just rely on him to do something that he hasn't done. But overall, he has gotten a lot better. Finished second at Talladega earlier this year. He's won stages now, which is something that you didn't think Kyle Larson could do at these super speedways. The first Atlanta race of the year, he finished third. I think he won a stage at Talladega and won a stage in Atlanta this year. So he has gotten better. Finished fourth in the Talladega playoff race last year. If you just look at the numbers, I would say that overall he's best at Talladega as opposed to Atlanta, as opposed to Daytona. So in my opinion, if you're looking for someone sneaky this weekend, I think Kyle Larson is a sneaky guy to at least finish well. Like, what about Larson for a top 5? He's plus 150 for a top 5. So again, I wish we could get that closer to plus 300, just given like that or 250, given that he hasn't like ever really, really made the huge kind of well, he hasn't won. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, he hasn't won. But overall, he's gotten better and better and better at super speedways. He's an interesting one to watch this weekend. If his money line moves at all post practice and post qualifying, I'm going to attack it because I think he is due for a win at a super speedway. But again, like, to me, the main guys I'm looking at are Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano. Um, again, Stenhouse, I think, is a good one to look at. Chase Elliott, I think, at 11 to 1 is a good solid bet. I don't really believe in Byron, especially not at Talladega. I like him more at Daytona. He's proven it at Daytona, but I don't know, something about Talladega and William Byron, they just, to me, that they don't really go hand in hand. But the big ones for me are those Penske Fords. Obviously, RFK is going to be fighting hard to try to also make some noise. None of those guys have won. Brad Keselowski, Chris Buescher, Ryan Preece. Ryan Preece finished second at Talladega earlier this year, then got disqualified. He could obviously make some noise, as could Brad Kay, who, every time you feel like one of these races happens, he's right there at the end. How about the Atlanta race with him and Chase Elliott down to the wire? You just always feel like Brad Keselowski is in the top five with about 3 laps to go. At 18-1, I feel like it's worth a try. His teammate Busher 22-1 and Ryan Preece 30-1. So pretty solid odds for the RFK Fords. But again, I'm looking at Ryan Blaney and Chase Elliott and Joey Logano, and Larson to have a really solid, day throughout the duration of the race. Stenhouse to spoil the party. Those are like my favorite bets this weekend. But the final card, Johnny on the Track on Action Network at JOTT_podcast on X. I always say, you want to bet small to win big. That's what you're able to do when you get odds this much in your favor. So I can't imagine that anybody watching this is watching for the first time. But if you are, try a lot of smaller bets in the hopes to win big. That's how this stuff works. You've got a lot of opportunities to win and win big. And that's the bottom line at, betting a super speedway. We've done okay on super speedways this year. Nothing crazy, nothing special. But overall, this is a big weekend, in my opinion, that I think is going to provide some sparks overall. And one more note on Larson: 7th, 6th, 2nd, 2nd, his last 4 races. So he's on a heater. And usually when Larson is on a heater, he's tough to beat. I think, what was it, 2021? He went second, 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 first, first, first. Earlier this year, he went first, fifth, had a bad result at 37th, then first, second, fourth, first. So when Larson is hot, he's usually in form. I would ride the hot form and, attack Larson in a lot of different ways. He's going to be an interesting one to me. Fingers crossed he doesn't have an issue. But again, final card, Johnny on the Track on Action Network. Final card at JOTT_podcast on X. I appreciate you guys watching. Give this video a like, goes a long way for the channel. What are you guys looking at? Who are you targeting this weekend at Talladega? Put your thoughts and your comments in the comment section down below. And please subscribe for more content. We'll see you next time. And as always, let's go win some money.